Hi everybody, this is Time Final Control and I hope you're all well this afternoon. Unfortunately, if some of you have been able to read the posts, unfortunately, now we've got the internet up, we still have the weather working against us this afternoon. It's been off and on rain all day, and unfortunately it doesn't seem that it's going to be slowing down at all. But if we do get a gap in the rain, we do hope that we are going to be heading out and seeing what we can go and find this afternoon. But for the time being, I'm going to be in the chat room and just having a chat with you, and just keep your fingers crossed that we are able to get out on drive. It would be nice to get out there and see what's going on. I'm going to keep the radio on and just monitor it as much as possible, see if we can hear what else is going on around Juma this afternoon. And as I say, I'll keep popping in and out and just keeping a check on that rain as well. But hi to Roy, Mud, Jerry, Gustavo, Old and New, Louise, Fundy, Kathy, Donald. Good to hear you, good to see you. Josie, hi Roxy, Janine, and who else have we got? Laurie, Carolyn, hope you're well too. And I'm still trying to get in on Ustream there. Lindsay, Roma, Animal Lady, Brenda, Saija, I'm hoping I'm saying your name correctly. I did say Roy. Roy was one of the first I said. Hi, Donna. And Veronique, bonjour. John, good to see you too. And Nancy, good to see you. And Rising Sun. Deb in Vegas, I hope you're well. Yeah, I must admit, this is such a lovely picture. Unfortunately, the day Seb took that, my camera had put the battery on charge and forgot to bring the battery. So, unfortunately, I missed that shot. But at least Seb managed to get it. Hi, who have we got there? Hi, Ruth, Heather, and Bobby G. Good afternoon to you as well. Okay, so I'm just going to see if I can try and get into Ustream, so do bear with me, and hopefully I'll be able to be back with you very shortly. If anybody does have any questions to ask, then please do send them through to questions@juma.com, and I should be able to answer them as we go along this afternoon. As I say, hopefully, I'm just struggling to get into Ustream at the moment, so I'm actually just going to go silent for a couple of minutes just while I try and type in and get everything under control there, and see if I can actually start the stream on Ustream as well. So don't go anywhere, and I'll also poke my head out the door and just see how we're doing with that rain as well. Because I say the clouds look like they were climbing higher, but the clouds behind them were actually much lower, and unfortunately I think that's the cloud that's in now that's giving a few drops of rain. But it's that light stuff as well that just soaks you through to the skin eventually. But as I say, don't go too far, and hopefully I'll be back very shortly. Okay, yeah, I just had a quick look outside. Unfortunately, it's still very much drizzling out there. So the sad thing is, even though it's fairly light, it can still do damage to our equipment. So unfortunately, we're still not going to be able to go out in it, which is quite frustrating because it's that, as I say, it's that fine stuff that, I say, just too much of it, sadly. But yeah. But hi to Brenda and anybody else who I missed. Sue, hi to Sue. And Millie. Nikki, good to see you here. Miss Chris. Yep, definitely you can go about your day this afternoon. Okay, so if anybody does have any questions, send them through to questions@juma.com. And the first question of this afternoon. Oh, and what I do have lined up for you, I actually found frog calls that I had on my computer. So I thought it'd be quite interesting to maybe play a few frog calls that you might hear around the dam. And we'll have to just see if we can actually find a picture or two on the internet that I can actually put onto Wirecast and show you. Because unfortunately I don't have that many pictures of frogs, especially frogs in this area. But as I say, hopefully if we can play you a couple of calls at least that you might hear, then it might be useful to you. Roy asking about Cameron FC. Not really, Roy. I know we have done it for a Fireside chat, but it does take quite a bit of setting up. So, and to be honest, you don't really want to see me sitting behind a computer in Final Control. We used to have the webcam, but that was actually on the old computer. Unfortunately, we don't have a webcam or a microphone. I know some people are asking about Skype. But Final Control doesn't have... We have Skype, but we don't have a microphone to be able to talk through Skype. Believe me, it's been quite annoying when we've been trying to have meetings in the past through this computer. Unfortunately, for some reason, this microphone doesn't work logged in with Skype. So, yeah, unfortunately, not this afternoon. But as I say, we'll keep seeing. I'll keep checking on the weather, and I'm really hoping we'll be able to get out on a drive. So, how's it going? Oh yes, Ed. Hi Ed, I hope you're well. And apparently you read the post about, about the leopard mating. For those of you not aware, let me just see if I can actually find where I've put it up. I heard from the guides 3 days ago, if you remember. I think it was actually this time 3 days ago, that we heard there was a female leopard and a male that was mating, and we managed to confirm the male was Mvula, but no one was able to confirm who the female was until now. I was actually talking to Hendry and one of the other guides, and they said that Saseka, who we know of Saseka and they know as Tandy, was the female who was mating with Mvula. Now Mvula, for those of you not sure, is the male leopard who patrols the eastern side of Karula's territory. So he patrols furthest over we've seen him is Drakensberg Drive, but he seems to be inching his way. Sorry, not Drakensberg, Yara Road North. For those of you who are wanting to have a map, thanks to Tony, who's actually posted it on the Facebook page, and also I've posted it under discussions under map. So if you go to discussions on the Juma Facebook page, and you'll find the map there. So if you want to have a look at the map and familiarise yourself with where I'm talking about, then that's where you can find it. So anyway, he patrols up into about Nyala Road North now. We've seen him walking down there, and he seems to be quite at home there. So he seems to be pushing Yambiliordan's boundary back quite a bit. The female that he's been mating with, Saseka, which is Karula's daughter from her first litter. Now, she had 2 cubs by him. Well, it's thought that they're by him. Unfortunately, she's lost one, but she still has that male cub. Now, he's probably about the same age as Karula's 2 youngsters now. So, if you remember, I was talking about it on Drive and saying about Karula and the unlikelihood of it being her and being an estrus because of the cubs, where they are at this stage in their life. They're still highly dependent on Karula. She's still going to be providing. The same story applies to Saseka, and the little boy doesn't seem to be anywhere near independent, just like the other 2 cubs of Karula. So I don't know. There could be something funny going on there. Maybe with young males being around. Maybe she's mating with Mvula just to make sure that he doesn't try and kill the cub, just in case he thinks that it's not his. It could be, as Penny suggested, maybe a false estrus because of that. As I say, to really just make sure that he doesn't go and try and kill her cub. And it has been apparently recorded on other properties where females do go into almost a false estrus. But as I say, that's the only thing I can really put it down to. I really can't see her being in a full estrus. I might be completely wrong, but with the cub being barely a year old, I don't know, it's just something funny is going in there, and it'd be quite interesting to follow that and just see if that does lead anywhere. But I think maybe it's just making sure, sort of cementing the fact that Mvula knows that cub is his, and there's no reason for him to go and try and kill it, with it being a male cub. But certainly quite an interesting one. Certainly quite interesting. And hi, Dee's dog, Roxy. And Roy, do I think the crocodiles will be coming out of the rivers soon and heading to the dams? It's always possible, especially in this area. And it's also possible that they just move from dam to dam. They don't actually use the river at all. It could just be when the rivers start to swell, it can actually aid them in moving around between dams. But they're quite happy to cross the ground as well, the open ground. And so I'm still just trying to get into Ustream here. It doesn't want to play. This is not good. Okay, I think I've just about managed it. So, hi to everybody over in Ustream. I think I've just about got in there now, so do bear with me. I don't know why I just didn't want to play, but I think I'm in there now. So good afternoon to everybody over in Ustream, and I hope you're all well. And hi to Linda and Minerva. And I do know, for the waterhole camera, I do know Pete and Nick are looking into trying to resolve the issue of the microphone. Apparently it's making a very odd sound. So apparently, I think Nick said that he might have been able to find the problem, but I'm not sure if he's been able to solve the issue. So hopefully it will be dealt with as soon as possible. But as I say, they are looking into it. Yeah, definitely. Please stop raining. For anybody who's wanting to find other information, remember we do have the Fireside chat on Friday, and that's at 7:30 Central Africa time. So if anybody wants to join us, please do, and it's going to be about where the rhino donations are going. The rhino donations are being split 15,000 and 15,000 between two organisations. The first one, the Anti-Poaching Patrol in Sabi Sands, and we've actually got somebody on the ground who's part of that, part of the Anti-Poaching Patrol. So they're going to be coming and talking to us, and they'll be able to tell those of you who weren't able to buy T-shirts or the paintings, they'll be able to tell you how you can donate if you want to donate any money to help the anti-poaching team. And the other half will go to the first ever rhino orphanage. Now, there are other places dotted around South Africa that are rehabilitation centres, and they have taken young rhinos in. But this is going to be the first facility just purely for baby rhinos. There's going to be a vet on site, and they're going to basically limit the amount of people that actually have contact with these rhinos to try and sort of reduce the amount of movement around them and sort of fussing over them. So they just want to try and, sort of get them to a stage where they can actually put them back out into the wild. Because what's been happening fairly recently is there's been nowhere else to put the baby rhino, and unfortunately they've had to put them down from those female rhinos that have unfortunately been poached. Because there's been nowhere else for the babies to go, and they just can't survive without their mother's milk at that stage. Very, very sad. But this is being endorsed by Sand Parks, Karen Trendler, who's raised many, many rhinos in the past. She's behind it. There's a few other organisations behind them. So hopefully that's going to work out well, and hopefully we won't need it that much. But as I say, unfortunately, the poaching doesn't seem to be subsiding. But as long as we can raise awareness, that's what we really need to do. We've hopefully got some journalists coming, and hopefully they're going to be able to spread the word as well. Because the more we can get it out there, the more pressure we can put on the governments, and hopefully they can actually do something about it. So that's what's going to be happening over the Fireside chat on Friday at 7:30 Central Africa time, so do join us then. And if you would like to read more about that there is a blog, and that's on www.juma.com, and look under blogs and you'll find Fireside chat there. And also I've been putting up blogs about what's been happening recently with the leopards, and pictures and things like that are up there as well. So if you want to sort of keep a watch on what Karula and her family are doing, then that's one of the best places to go to. I also post the links up onto the Facebook pages for Karula and any other leopard that's involved, whether the lions are involved. I put it up onto their pages, also the Juma page as well. So there's a few places I do put the link, but you can go directly to the Juma website as well. Dean, good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning. Where are you from, Dean? You're from Florida. Good afternoon. Well, actually, it will be good morning to you that side, won't it? And Dean wants to know if Kruder ever found something to eat yesterday PM. Saw her leaving in Duna when he was up at the tree with a kill. And we're not sure. I know Mark did leave her. She still hadn't caught anything when Mark was there. So he did leave her, and we're hoping that she caught something, although we haven't heard anything from the guides this morning. I'm hoping to maybe hear something on the radio this afternoon, but we shall see. I've just heard some interference. I don't know if anybody's actually out yet or not. Could be that they're waiting for the rain to subside themselves as well. But we're not sure, Dean. We're not sure. But great to have you with us. Apparently you've been watching for 3 months. So over in Jupiter in Florida. Maybe I'm hoping one day we'll be able to visit Juma as well. It is a beautiful, beautiful area. And obviously seeing the characters that you see here on the game drives, I think really does make it even more exciting to come here. It's not just a leopard, the story behind the leopard. And that's one of the things that I love about being a guide, and always have done for the, 5.5, nearly 6 years now of guiding. It's actually learning about the animals and their personalities and their story and the interactions that they have. And, just the whole life is a soap opera. And the fact that as a guide you get a chance to see that and build up on it. Whereas if you're a guest, you don't necessarily do that. When many of the guests come to South Africa, a lot of people, it's their first and only time they're going to be able to come out here. So all they want to do is, see the leopard, see the lion, see maybe, some awesome interactions. But, they don't tend to see the animal behind the individual behind the animal kind of thing. And that's what I think is very special in that what you guys can see with us. It's almost like you are guides. You're actually following the lives of these animals, and I think to actually come and see them, I just think that's fantastic. And who did I miss? Did I miss somebody? There we go. Hi, Donna, Snowmouse, Africa, and Snappy Dog. If you can hear me over in Ustream. Hopefully you can. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So I have been trying to upload some other pictures for you, but unfortunately Wirecast decided to crash. That's why I was actually just on 4 o'clock when I started speaking, just because Wirecast decided that it wasn't going to play anymore. Story of my life today. Oh well. We shall get there eventually. So let's see if this works. It's not wanting to play. I love technology. Brent, hi Brent from Arizona. Just asking about, could I display different animals of South Africa and habitats and explain and have chats about the subject? Yeah, we could, but as I say, it does take a bit of time to put things together. As I say, I was actually wanting to try and put pictures up, but I was actually hoping we'd get out on Drive. But what I do have lined up for you was actually the calls of the frogs that you might start to hear around Gowrie Down, because we have been hearing a lot of calls. So what I'm going to do is go through some of the questions that are coming in, and then hopefully play some calls for you so that we can try and get our frog knowledge up. Because it's only this time of year you really get a chance to see the frogs and hear the frogs. So I think that'll actually be quite useful for those of you, especially those of you who actually watch the waterhole camera. So we'll see how we go with that. But certainly, as I say, we certainly try and do something along those lines. And even on Drive, we try and do that. Somebody asks about an animal that we don't often see here. We try and show in books and things like that. Thanks, Minerva. Good to see that the picture did change. I'm trying to get a picture of Teddy up, but it's, as I say, it's not working at the moment. Doesn't like my picture for some reason. See if I can add a different one. See what will happen. Nope. I'll have to try and work that one out. Yeah, definitely great when it works. Hi, Sarah. Good afternoon to you. And Donna and Bets. I hope Bets is feeling well today. But wanting to know, is any impala babies, have they been born yet? We haven't seen any. I haven't really seen too many impalas today either. So we're hoping to try and get out and have a look out there. But we'll see. It looks like it's slightly lighter outside. I'm definitely going to have another look out there. Oh, awesome. Hi, M-Peak and Half Hitch. Good afternoon to you. Interesting question there, M-Pick. Your domestic cats don't pant in 100-degree temperatures. Why do leopards pant at 80? Yeah, good question. Very good question. Could have been the humidity, though, M-Pick. It could have been that the other day, because it was, when we saw Shavinzi panting, she'd been chasing after squirrels, so that would have obviously got her heart rate up, and it was very humid, so I think that combination probably didn't help her much. I think it was probably more that than anything. Probably that and the fact that the cats are much smaller, that's going to have quite a big impact on the size to body ratio. The larger the animal, the less surface area they have to get rid of heat, to expel heat. And that's one of the reasons something like an elephant has very large ears, to increase the surface area and to increase the area that they can actually get rid of heat from. So it could just be because the big cats are larger, same sort of shape to the domestic cat, so it could be that the size to body ratio is much smaller in the big cats than it is in the small cats. So that could have something to do with it as well. A bit like if you think about a mouse, take an elephant and a mouse will expel heat quite rapidly. Its small body, but the surface area is actually quite great compared to the size of its body. Wingnut. Hi, Wingnut. Having a difficult time hearing. Oh, I'm hoping not. I'm hoping everyone can hear me well. Hi, Caddy. No sound is great. I'm hoping I'm coming through loud and clear. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Hi Becky, and to everybody in SPO chat room. I'm not sure how to get there, so unfortunately I can't do individual shout outs there, but I hope everybody's fine and enjoying. And I did see there was a few pictures from there the other day, so thanks to everybody who sent the link to that one. And Dee from Minnesota. Great to hear you've been shopping at Cafe Press. I wanted to know if Juma actually received the money for the sales. And as far as I know, we do. All the proceeds that do get raised through the shop now are actually going to the drives. Also to from Shirley Shed as well. She's the lady that's been doing all the hand-drawn animals and things like that. So Shirley Shed, and the actual Juma shop, both the money is actually going to what we need for the drives, basically. And just on that, a few people have sort of got, I think, the wrong end of the stick. Fortunately, the live drives are not out of the woods yet. The live drives are still at risk from closing. We do need to keep on getting as many viewers as possible, and hopefully the more people we can get in the next month should hopefully keep the drives going. The whole way that everybody can help, Yuri doesn't want donations. What we need is to have people log on and to have the adverts running. The adverts are the key. The adverts are where we actually get revenue. So please, please, please keep the adverts on, keep them running. I know they can be quite painful sometimes, and believe me, that F&B advert has blasted me off my chair a couple of times, I can tell you that for sure. But yeah, please do keep them running, because that is how we get revenue. So the more people we have on, and the more that people keep the adverts running, the more money we can actually make, and that's where, as I say, the revenue will come from and keep the drives going. So that's the biggest thing, and obviously word of mouth. Try and tell everybody all about the drives and what they can experience. Thanks to Mud, who sent through about, apparently Ellen DeGenerate actually wants to go on safari. So I've actually sent her an email to invite her to either have us on the show, so she's sitting in the studio and she's watching us on safari, or to actually invite her over and sit on the Gunda with us, see if we could actually get her to come over. So we shall see. But thanks, Mud, for that lead. I've tried to follow up on that, and I'll keep sending an email until they actually do get back to me. So I did phone the managers, but they weren't overly impressed with me phoning. So, well, they weren't very helpful, put it that way. So they said, as long as I've sent an email, then that's fine. So yes. I think it fell on deaf ears, that side, but I'm saying I'll keep trying and sending that email. Found a nice one that Mark took, not for the faint-hearted, but actually these jumping spiders. This is one of the jumping spiders, probably the zebra-striped jumping spider. I'm not sure the exact name of it, but beautiful little spider, and they are so intelligent. And if you look carefully, just past, I think there's a fly actually on the eyes of the spider. You can see those two very large eyes, and they've got exceptionally good eyesight, and they can see the two smaller eyes behind. But for absolutely incredible spider. This is probably my favorite spider. And as I say, highly intelligent as well. Hi, AMG. And Giovanni. Good to see you. Yes, I know. How dare it rain, I know. How much of what you spend actually goes to Juma? As I say, I think the people who make and print the clothing and everything like that, I think they do get quite a large chunk of it. I'm not sure what the markup is that was decided between Eugene and Anthony. I think they wanted to keep it fairly low so that it was obviously affordable for everybody, but obviously just make sure that there was a decent percentage that would go to the drive. So I don't know how much it is. We're not really involved so much in that side of things. Just gave donations, gave suggestions and designs for the shop. But yeah, as I say, I think it'll be. I think it's a fair price from what I've seen, and I think they've tried to get the best out of both worlds, kind of thing. So people aren't ripped off, but they still make a little bit of money. It'll probably be something like Lulu, actually. Lulu take about 80% of what you earn. Lulu is where you get the calendar from, and then you make a markup of the price, so you can actually set the price yourself. And again, I think they've done the same. They've kept the calendar price as low as possible, but obviously kept it or put a little bit of a markup so that we do get a little bit of money. But that is myself and Seb. We did send pictures for the calendar, and I think we've got a member of each family member plus one or two other leopards in there as well. So it's a nice family calendar. Okay, I'm going to go and just have a quick look outside and just see what's happening with the rain. So don't go too far, and I shall be back very shortly. No, I was hoping that it looked a little bit brighter outside, but still drizzling. And unfortunately, the clouds are getting lower rather than higher. Everyone needs to try and push the clouds up with the thoughts. Okay, Paula. Hi, Paula, in Maryland. I hope you're well. And wanting to get the checklist. So hopefully I can actually send that to you right away. So Paula, if you are listening, I'm busy just sending you that checklist. If anybody else wants the checklist, then do send an email through to questions@juma.com, and whoever is in the directing seat at that stage can just forward through the checklist for you. It's in 3 parts. So here it goes. I'm hoping this is going to work, Paula. Hi, Lisa. And Lion Eyes, please change the spider picture. Halloween is over. Yes, it is. I hope everyone did have a good Halloween. But changing it to an elegant grasshopper instead. Hi, Bar. Good to see you too. Yeah, to find the calendar, just put in Karula into Lulu. I was asked a little while ago by some of you if I was going to do another calendar, and I did put one together, but obviously the Leopard one is to help raise money for the drives. I just put one together just for anybody who wants it, so I will be putting that up on Lulu at some stage. As I say, I'm not putting a big markup on it at all. It's just for anybody who wants the pictures, basically. Then you can have the calendar. No, myself and Sebastian did actually donate the pictures for the Leopard calendar. We did actually donate the pictures so that the money could be raised, or the money that was raised will go to the drives. Yeah, and just on the checklist, it's up to you how you want to use the checklist. Myself, Seb, and Mark only check off what you guys can identify. So that's the way that we do it. We basically, it's a challenge between the 3 of us. seeing what we can actually find, who can find probably the best species and the most species. But it's going to be quite interesting at the end to see how many species we've got overall. Obviously, there are some that some of us have got and others haven't, and I think it's going to be like that. So we're going to get an overall idea of what species we have too. So it's quite an interesting one, and obviously it gives you guys opportunity to identify the animals, and also if you want to just tick off which each one of us gets, you can do that. If you want to see which ones you can actually identify, then you can do that. If you want to just tick off whatever we see, whether it gets identified or not, you can do that. It's totally up to you. That's better. I think there's a little bit of a lag this afternoon, so I think you are probably just a couple of minutes behind me. So I'm hoping that's worked for you, Paula. Oh, got a few questions coming in. Bobby G, I think you might have missed my messages the other day when you were asking about the white baboon. Asking if I can explain this and the fact that he hangs out with other Chacma baboons. From what we've been told, he is a Chacma baboon as well, and he apparently was normal coloured, and then for some reason he lost his hair, and when it grew back again it turned white. And that's what makes us think it's not leucism. That's when they have a recessive gene and they turn white, but not albino. So they'll still have some form of pigment. Their eyes will be yellow or blue. They won't have the pink pads. They won't have the pink nose. They'll have some form of pigment there, so brown. So if you take a lion, for example, that's the most normal one. The lion would have brown pads, brown ears, brown tips of the tail, blue or yellow eyes, whereas an albino would have no pigmentation whatsoever. So they'd have the pink nose, the pink ears, the pink pads, the pink eyes, because you're actually seeing the retina. So normally, yes, we could say it was a recessive gene for this baboon and that it was leucism or leucism, depends on how you want to say it. But the leucism, as I say, it will show itself right from word go. It will be from when they're born. But the fact that this baboon was normal coloured, lost his hair, for some reason he lost his hair, and then it came back white, there's something else there. There's and unless we've been misinformed, but there could well be something, a chemical change that happened in his body. It could be a disease. There could be any number of things that could have made that baboon lose his hair and have it turn white. Ah, okay. Thank you very much, dear, for the link. I shall see if we can get in on there as well. Join you guys over in the sportsman's paradise. I hope everybody is well in there. I actually wanted to say the full name, and I just couldn't remember. Remember, it's Sportsman's Paradise Online. I couldn't think of what the O would be standing for. So thanks for that one, dear. And yeah, you can hear me typing, hey. What was I saying? Oh yes, and I have been pulled up about the way I said sloughing in snakes. Now, this is one of the words. If you've watched me and you know me, I've got a very straightforward way of looking at words, and if I have never heard anybody say them, I say them in the way that I think they're supposed to be said, which is, I'm sure, how everybody does it. But I have a very funny way of pronouncing things, and I'm sure I've heard a few people saying to slough a skin, which is the snakes shedding their skin, but apparently it's pronounced slough, which I suppose I should have really thought about, because slough, the way it's spelt, is very similar to how you'd say Loughborough, or tough. But I'm sure I've actually heard other people. I'm sure this time it's not me reading it wrong. I'm sure I've heard it on a number of occasions being called sloughing, but apparently it's called sloughing. So just to put everyone correct there. Yeah, I see we are a little bit behind. I can see someone, who is it? Someone saying that, oh yes, Animal Lady. Patty's made sketches of myself, Mark and Seb in our element. Maybe I should be worried that my element is dung. Hi Connie, good to see you. Yep, I'm here. And Bops. Hi, Karen. And yes, thank you very much for the notice about the buzzing on the Warthog camera. We do know about it. The guys are looking into it. I'm hoping that they are going to be able to do something about it for you. As I also tuned in the other day, and sure, it was loud, hey. So the guys are busy looking into it. Buzzing looking into it. No, that doesn't work, does it? Busy looking into it. Wanting to know, are baby animals there hidden for a while to avoid predators? Some are, some aren't. You do get some antelope that will hide their young. You will find that some antelope, the young will actually bond together straight away. So we're literally waiting for the first impala to be born, and you'll see they very rarely hidden. They're usually staying with mum 24/7, especially when they're first born, and then they'll start forming creches. So you'll start to see the babies actually, lying together and playing together and eating together. And then you'll also see maybe the water buck, for example. You won't see their young until probably a good few weeks old, because they will hide their young. But the water buck tend to form much smaller herds than the impala. The buffalo can hide their young for a few days before joining the herd. Predators, leopards, lions will often hide their cubs for a few weeks before introducing them to, the lions to the pride, a leopard before, actually moving them around in relatively safety. We saw Karula during the day. She used to move them around a lot during the day. But as I say, she would use dens for at least the first couple of months, and then she would just leave them out in the open with cover, but she wouldn't find an actual den site, so to speak. And Jane, I'm hoping I'm saying your name right, Jane, because I'm seeing there's a few other letters behind it. Maybe you might need to tell me how I need to pronounce it. But from Minnesota, wanting to know, do the animals like the rain, and how fast will the trees turn green? In Minnesota, you can see hours after the rain in spring. And it's pretty much the same here, Jane. Already the trees are starting to become green, and I'm actually looking outside the window now, and already those trees are looking much greener to me. And the animals do like the rain. Sometimes, if it's drizzling like it has been today, you'll find them maybe in the thicker bush. But certainly, if it's just a nice refreshing rain or even just a drizzle and then it stops, you'll often find the animals still out and about. I've even seen lion absolutely soaked to the skin, and they are just sitting out on the open plain, and there's trees not too far away, but they'll be sitting in the rain, the storm's coming in, and they as I say, their fur is completely sodden, but they're not moving until the very last minute. I mean, I remember watching this lion pride, and I'm saying to my guests, okay, they're gonna go to the bush now, anytime now. And it just got heavier and heavier and heavier. And these lions just stayed out. And it was only when the thunder really, really cracked overhead, that's when the male lion decided, enough's enough. He's going into the bush. And then the rest of the pride actually followed. But it was so funny because they were almost refusing to move. Oh, thanks, Shirley. Shirley's saying we get 15%. Thanks very much for that, Shirley. And another checklist coming your way, Jane. And Dee, once again asking about donating money. As I say, we did ask Yuri, but he said no, he doesn't want donations. I don't know if that's because we're not a charity. I think you have to be registered as actually a charity to receive funds, and this could be why. I'm not entirely sure though. But that could be the legality behind it. But as I say, the best way to help us is just don't turn off those adverts. Keep those adverts on as much as possible. Oh, wonderful. Great to hear you got your checklist there, Paula. Oh, hi, Hal. Okay, I'm going to be sending you a checklist through as well. I'm just going through the questions just as they come in. A few people asking for the checklist. And Jane asking, rain delay, does Mark and Seb get to stay in bed? In the morning, yes. Because there's not really much else to do. I don't know what the boys are doing at the moment. They might be doing some admin work or something along those lines. Look at the drawer. Look at the drawer. So there was Karula, by the way. That was actually the day, this picture of Karula, she had the impala kill up the tree. I don't think she'd eaten for a few days, because she did actually take quite a big chunk of it before going to fetch the cubs. And then we had the cubs there, and it took them probably 24 hours to finish that impala, which was pretty quick, whereas other times it's taken them 2 or 3 days to finish. So that said to me that the family were particularly hungry at that stage. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful lady, hey. Definitely just an awesome character. And the fact that she's been so successful in rearing her cubs, and the fact that cub mortality is just so high. You just have to look at her 2 daughters, who are coming up for 5 years old now, I think. They had 4 cubs between them. They started late. Remember, Karula was probably about 2.5 years old. They were about 4 when they first fell pregnant and had their first litter. But out of those, the 4 cubs, 2 each, only 1 now survives to the same age as Karula's 2. So Karula really has a knack, I think, for rearing cubs and for keeping them safe. I'm going to be touching wood there. Because you never know what's around the corner, but I'm hoping that she's going to continue on and continue that amazing ability to produce and get those cubs right through to adulthood. Quite amazing. And, oh, hi Cindy, sorry I've missed a few. Hi Savuti. Oh, Animal Lady. There was a question there. How often do giraffes get struck by lightning? I think probably not that often, actually. Probably less than what you'd think. I know impala have got struck by lightning. I remember one particularly bad storm at my old reserve, and I think about 11 impala died. I think the tip jar was different there, Minerva. Yeah, as I say, I don't know the legalities. Say just being a non-profit organisation or not a charity, that's the only thing I can think of why you wouldn't want donations. But as I say, I actually don't know the reason. That's just me thinking. Maybe I should have said that. That's just me thinking. I don't know what the reason is, to be honest. As I say, I don't know the legalities behind things, but yeah, I don't know. I wish I did. One of these days I might be able to find out. And Doggy Digger. Hi, Doggy Digger. That's a bit of a mouthful there. And Donna over in Ustream, have me, Mark, or Seb ever driven to adjacent areas to see what they're like and familiarise ourselves? We have been invited on a couple of game drives. We did go out with one of the guides over in one of the other areas. When we go to visit other lodges, you know, we do happen to go on their property to be able to get there, but it's by invite only. So, see what's going on here. Asking about the lions. Ryan, come in.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now, confirm, where did you see Mvula for us?
Sorry, again?
Where did you see Mvula, if you can confirm for us?
The Mvula we got before the
Okay, copy. Whereabouts was he?
My first time, actually. First time in a long time. I think with new mail that's come out of Mala and tested all the way back to the front now. Take you start to do a guide rather.
Okay, copy. Thank you. Okay, so just getting an update there on the leopards. Apparently Mafufanyama was seen down towards Arathusa, down towards their lodge. It's been a while, so sounds like that there's actually a new kid in town. I saw on the blog. There's a new male coming in from Londolozi, I think, and it sounds like he's pushing the big males, and I wonder if he's going to try and set up a territory there. It's going to be quite interesting to see what goes on there. I'm just going to pop my head outside again because it is looking a little bit brighter outside, so I shall hopefully be back, and I'll start playing some frog calls for you when I do come back. So don't go too far away. I should only just be a couple of minutes. Okay, sorry, I'm just getting through some of the emails just requesting the checklist. The last one coming to snowing. Oh, snowing? Mark. Sorry. Oh dear, I shall put my brain back in my head. Okay, Mark from Salt Lake City, that's snowing over there. There we go. So this one hopefully is winging its way there, so you don't need to scribble on any more pieces of paper. And yes, Ed, just reminding me, we filmed Karuna actually carrying a kill up in the tree, and that was your personal best viewing ever. And I must admit, Ed, that will forever be etched in my memory, and the reason being, oh dear, Our Lady, she gave me a heart attack of note. For those of you who weren't able to join us, it was actually one of the very first night drives that we did, or that I did, sorry. And we'd heard the Karula was actually on a kill, and she made the kill, and she was busy eating, and everyone had to go back to the lodge. And it was at the time when we actually had a different camera, and we had an infrared camera, and that could be used with an infrared light, which I know people have been asking about, but unfortunately we can't use the infrared light with this Sony NX5 that we have now. But we had this camera, so we were able to go and view at night. And while we were sitting there, she actually took the carcass up into the tree, and the tree was a good 4.5 meters high at that stage, and it was a pretty straight trunk. And I'm looking up there and I'm thinking there's no way on earth she's going to be able to get in. It was a female impala. She'd eaten a bit of it. But she starts to climb the tree. And she actually took a step. She had the impala in her mouth, and she took a step. And she tumbled to the ground and there was no movement. I thought, oh, she's killed herself. She has just killed herself. This is one of my first night drives. I hadn't been here that long. And my blood ran cold. I mean, even Herman said he could see I just changed colour. And this is at night, he couldn't really see me at all, but he knew. And I was sitting there going, oh my word, how on earth can I just tell the audience she's just killed herself? I couldn't speak, I couldn't do anything. And I remember that few seconds felt like a lifetime, and then all of a sudden she gets up, brushes herself off and starts climbing up the tree again. And I think I must have given out the biggest sigh of relief. But yeah, that will always stay in my memory. But it was quite a magical sighting as well, because she got the carcass up the tree, and then as we were sitting there, pitch black, I was actually just watching what everybody else was watching, because we couldn't see. We didn't have a spotlight on her. It was pitch black in front of us. And as we were sitting there, we start hearing elephants, and they're slowly moving towards us, and eventually they just pop out into the clearing, and they come right up to see what we're doing and who we are. It was just awesome. It really was. It was probably one of the best sightings I've ever had, and I get goosebumps to just thinking about it. And a quick one from Max, age 5. I hope you're well, Max. And asking about tigers, my favourite animal. Do tigers live in Africa? Nope, they don't, Max. We have lions and leopards and cheetah, but we don't have tigers. They're found over in Asia. But I do love tigers. Okay, right then. Where's my book? So, let me see. And this is the book that I've been using on Drive. And it's, as I say, it has a little CD in the back. I think I did actually miss. There was somebody else asking something. Oh, thanks, Penny, for the information about the albino elephant. Apparently seen 3.8 kilometers from Paul Kruger Gate this morning. Sure, an albino elephant. I know there's one further north. I think up in Kenya or Tanzania. So that's going to be quite interesting to see how the little albino elephant does in Kruger. But there was somebody asking something else. I've missed it now. So also just a big hello to Glow and Sandal and Johan. Hoe gaan dit, Johan? I hope you're well. Maggie's mom, good to see you. Ed in Tuska. And yes, just missed about Karula. That when I was just talking about Karula taking the kid up into a tree, she was actually, it was about well over a year and a half ago. I think it was about April last year, April or May, something like that. And hi Jody and Jane and who else have we got in there? Virginia, I can't remember if I said hello to Virginia. And Inca, good to see you too. Yeah, I've actually been working out how to do, because we've had a bit of a lag. So while I was just finishing off my story about Karula, I was able to actually work out what I was doing wrong. So here is a picture of Teddy with one of the other cubs. And that was taken probably about a week ago. Jojo! Good to see you. That was right, actually, Bobby. She did, after she put the kid in the tree, she did, as the elephants came through, I think, she came down the tree and actually went to go and find the boys. Hi, Trish. Good to see you too. So, let me see if I can actually play for you one of the calls that you might actually start to hear at the dam, as promised. If I can actually get my thing to work, hold on. Me and technology just shouldn't mix. Okay, so as I say, this is from Vincent Carruthers, Frogs and Frogging in Southern Africa. I have put on my public Facebook page the ISBN numbers, book titles and authors of the books that I use on Drive, and you'll also be able to find them on discussions, but the guys also use most of the books that I've been using as well. So especially the bird books that we all use the same ones, I think. So yeah, if you want to have a look at the books that we use, then that's where you can find the information about them. So here we go. This is from the CD. So one of the most common frogs that we get on, or in the dam, should I say. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. It's never good. Let me just see if I can try and find a picture for you quickly. But we actually had it a little while ago on Drive. We were able to see it just floating in the water, and some people were able to correctly identify it as a platana or clawed frog, African clawed frog. And these are the frogs that you'll see herons and the hammercops actually going for. So that's if you do see them going for frogs, that's who they basically go for. And I'm hoping this is going to work. Let's see. So give me a second, and let me just see if I can get the frog up on the screen for you. I'm just quickly trying to get it from the internet here, because sadly I don't have a picture of these guys. Did it work? I don't know. Don't think it did. Okay. No, didn't like it. Okay, well, let me play the sound for you anyway, because it's quite an unusual sound. They actually don't create noise like the other frogs do. If you think about a frog calling, and when frogs call, it's only the males that call, so that's how you can tell if it's a male or female. And it's the air sacs usually underneath the throat or on the side of the mouth that they inflate, and that actually helps to belt out the sound. And it's made basically how we would make sound. But the platana, or the African clawed frog, actually rubs cartilage together. They make the sound in a completely different way. And that's why they do sound very different to other frogs. So if I'm gonna play it for you now. I'll keep trying to see if I can sort out the picture for you. But here we go. So this is the sound that you might hear around Gary Dam, or even on drive. We might hear it on drive. So listen to this and see what you think.
Frogs in groups 1, 2, and 3. Common platana, Xenopus laevis.
So I'm hoping that came through loud and clear. Let me just see. Just let me know if you could hear it. Hi, Beaker Lips. Welcome to you over there in Ustream. Awesome. It looks like everybody did manage to hear it. So yeah, as I say, it does sound very different to the other frog calls. So if you hear that, then hopefully you'll know that it's the platana, or African clawed frog. Now, I think I've just managed to solve the problem again. So hopefully I can get you a picture of the African clawed frog for those of you who are not sure what it looks like. Yes, here we go. Oops. Just trying to make it look nice for you. Okay, here we go. This is the African clawed frog. Ta-da! So this is the one, as I say, if you see the hammerkop sort of throwing a frog around, or the heron, they've got quite a slimy secretion which is toxic, is poisonous, and obviously won't make them taste very nice. So you'll see them actually trying to get rid of this slime, and they'll also sort of batter the frog just to make it a little bit more squishy, so it goes down a little bit easier as well when they swallow. But if you have a look at the webbed feet, and they're highly aquatic species, so these webbed feet will help to propel them through the water, probably more webbed than other frogs, especially if you see frogs that are mainly living on land, like the little rain frogs. You won't really see the webbed feet at all. And then you get some frogs where they do have webbing, but not as much as the African clawed frog. So quite an interesting little frog, that. So common platana, or African clawed frog. And also, one thing to know is have a look at the eyes. The eyes are right up there on top of the head. And you'll often see them coming up to the surface, and this is how we saw them the other day. And you'll notice the eyes up on top of the head rather than on the side of the head like other frogs. So they are quite a primitive frog. And again, that's with them being highly aquatic. But quite an interesting frog, as I say. And just having another look at the emails that are just coming in. Jane wants to know what the chance of survival of the albino Ellie or other albino animal are. Yeah, a difficult one. It's usually not great. Albinos or any white animal tends to stick out like a sore thumb in the wild. The problem that the elephant faces is it doesn't have any pigmentation, and the elephants do spend a lot of time out in the sun. So it's going to get a heat stroke probably. It's going to be very sensitive to the sun, as all albino animals are. So yeah, it's really not associated with animals that are capable of surviving too well. But you never know. You never know. Nature is a funny thing, and it could well be that it does survive. But yeah, as I say, it's. I think it would be interesting for them to keep an eye on it. They probably will. I know they were keeping a very close eye on the one further north. I can't remember where it was. It was Kenya or Tanzania that had the albino elephant. But yeah, as I say, quite an interesting anomaly that happens. Thanks, Raisa. Raisa's saying 27th of the 5th. So 27th of May 2010. That the night drive where I thought Karula had killed herself. As I say, I was very relieved that she didn't. And Ed in New York. I'm not sure if we did get your postcard as yet, Ed. Well, we're going to be doing some. Let me just have a quick look. I've got them here. We're going to be taking them out on drive. So, who have we got? Sandra from Dauphin Island in Alabama. We've got your postcards, but I don't seem to have any other postcards at the moment. So I'm not sure. I don't think so. Not yet, Ed. More about the FSC, the Fireside Chat on Friday. There is a blog out on Juma webpage. So if you would like to read a little bit more about it at your leisure, then you can do. But 7:30 Central Africa time, we've got the two organisations who are going to get the money that we raised, 15,000 rand each. And they're going to be basically talking about what they do. There's the Sabi Sands Anti-Poaching Patrol. We've actually got someone who is on the ground who will be able to fill us in on what they do, obviously to a certain degree, and hopefully field any questions that you might have. And we also have the head who's going to be organising the orphanage for the rhinos. I actually used to work with him in my old reserve, so I do know them. I've seen the blueprints. They've already started building, as I believe. So that should be well underway, and hopefully it'll be ready to take baby rhinos very soon. But as I say, he's going to fill you in on more details, and they'll be able to tell you, if you would like to donate any money, they'll be able to tell you how and when and where and what to do, the bank details and all that sort of thing. So, and I will obviously release a blog after that once I know myself all the details as well. So I will be writing another blog. Hopefully we've got the media involved as well, but we'll see who arrives on the day. And again, we'll keep you posted on that one as well. And Lisa, thanks for the information, Lisa, on the sloughing of the snake. So it just sounds so odd. But Lisa and somebody else also said about the sloughing rather than the sloughing. But I'd love to know, I can't remember who actually said, but I've heard it a couple of times. And Shimomo, good to see you. Hi, Denise. Oh, Roy. Smiley face, sad face. Oh dear. Roy, did you miss the frog call? That's not good. Hi, Vancy. Hi, Phil. Been a while since I've seen you, Phil. Apparently bred albino platanas, but they were quite interesting. Xenopus leafus, that's right. Xenopus leafus. Okay, so the next frog. I'm wondering if we get them here. I've not heard them calling, but it is a beautiful little call. Yeah, well, it's in the distribution. So have a listen to this. I'll see if I can actually find. Thanks, Minerva. I'm glad you're enjoying it on the rainy afternoon, the chat. But listen to this. This is a beautiful little sound. And if you do hear it around the dam, please do let me know. Let's say one of my favourite frogs. So have a listen to this. This is the banded rubber frog, and I'll have a look, see if I can find a picture for you.
Banded rubber frog, Phrynomantis bifasciatus.
Beautiful little call. I hope you enjoyed that. As I say, I'm just going to try and find a nice... Aha, there we go. A nice picture for you. And we'll get on to the toads as well, because I think the toads have been calling a lot at the moment. So, but as I say, if you do hear that, I'll play it again for those of you who missed it. Let me see if I can get it there again. I say quite a big Latin name, Phrynomantis bifasciatus. Bifasciatus. Yeah, try and say that with a mouthful of marbles.
Banded rubber frog, Phrynomantis bifasciatus.
Okay, and for those of you who maybe missed the platana, I'm just going to put that one up for you again as well. So this is the platana, the African clawed... Hey! the African clawed frog who's up on your screen now.
2 and 3. Common platana, Xenopus levis.
Okay, so I'm just going to adjust the picture. So the banded rubber... Blah, 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 blah. Put my teeth back in as well. The banded rubber frog is going to be up on your screen now. So this is the banded rubber frog. Hi, Sarsaparilla. Yeah, no drive at the moment, unfortunately. I keep popping my head out every so often, but it's that fine, fine rain that's just going to soak everything, and if it gets into the camera or equipment, it's going to just cause major problems. So we can't really risk going out as much as I would love to. I would love to go out at this point in time, but unfortunately we better not. See where you guys are. So if you do hear that topic. So there you go, the banded rubber frog. Okay, so, oops, try that one again. So the next frog that I've got lined up for you, if I can put the picture on the screen, is the brown-backed tree frog. And I have been hearing it, actually. So the brown-backed tree frog is the next one you're going to hear. And the previous name of the frog was a banded rubber frog, Bobby. Banded rubber frog, and the first one we heard was the platana or African clawed frog. So frog, brown-backed tree frog, and these ones actually go to sleep on shelves, and I've been finding them sort of behind cans of beans and things like that. So, yeah, as I say, quite an interesting one. Caddy, any frog dung pics available? I have found toad dung before. I'll have to show you in my scatology book the picture of that. But yes, I have found before. Okay, so here's the call, and this one I have seen or have heard out in the bush recently, so definitely keep a lookout.
Brown-backed tree frog, Leptopilus mozambicus.
So I'm hoping that one came over. I'd say quite a low call, but I think you may have been hearing it around the dam at the moment. When I was on Avubu Road the other night, I did hear them calling. So there is a chance you're hearing them on the waterhole camera at the moment. And especially with all the rains, I'm sure there's going to be an amazing sound. Yeah, definitely. This one, I must admit, I have jumped a couple of times because I put my finger or went to pick up a can, and there's been something slimy there. So yes, that one can give you quite a fright if you're not expecting it. Poisonous frogs, yes. This little guy, the banded rubber frog. I'll put him back up again. Banded rubber frog. This one is poisonous, especially if you see that black and orange. That is a sign to animals, hey, back off, I am toxic. And because of that, you may find this frog not out and about, but he's fairly easy to find, and it's because he is toxic. So you don't want to be eating that one. And that's got a lot to do with it. If you do see an animal that's brightly coloured, chances are it's got some way of inflicting pain, so you don't particularly want to go messing with it. If you think about bees and wasps, the black and the yellow, they've got stingers. A lot of the toxic frogs are brightly coloured. I'm thinking of the poison arrow frogs also in South America. The platana, this little guy, if I can put him up again, the African clawed frog also has quite a toxic substance, a secretion. So you don't want to be picking this one up. So yeah, I think Mary, you think you've been hearing the little brown-backed tree frog, and it is possible. I'm sure you have heard this one. Sass. Just seeing your comment about the banded rubber frog there. Banded rubber frog, sure. Having a hard time speaking this afternoon. Hi, Jeff. Yes, that's what it's called, aposematic coloration, warning colours. White's usually in there as well, right? White and black, orange, red, yellows, with black usually. The monarch butterflies, exactly. Monarch butterflies, obviously orange and black. The monarchs actually produce the toxins from when they're caterpillars. The caterpillars eat things like milkweeds, which are toxic, and then the chemical actually is utilised in their body. You also have crias who produce the toxin by themselves. They don't necessarily need to eat toxic plants to actually be toxic. But then you get butterflies who mimic the monarchs, called diadems, and the female actually mimics the monarch so perfectly, it's very difficult to tell them apart. If you look at the way they fly, that is one of the major differences. With the monarch, they know they're toxic, and if any bird's ever tried to eat a monarch, they spit it out. They know it's bitter, and chances are they won't try again. And the diadem actually relies on that fact. So the diadem will have this orange and black, looks like the African monarch, even though it's not toxic at all. It relies on the fact that birds and animals would have tried that and spat out, and they will recognize this orange and black, so that they will actually fly slightly differently to the monarch, because they know they're not toxic, so that there is a potential threat to them, but this mimicking of the monarch hopefully saves them from being eaten. And the monarch, as I say, is very slow, lazy flight, because it doesn't really need to worry about being eaten, whereas the diadem does. The diadem will often have quite a fast flight and try and keep out the way of things. So that's one of the ways you can actually tell, just by the behavior rather than the look of the butterflies. Yeah, just an update on the waterhole camera. The guys are looking into it, so I'm hoping that the sound is going to be fixed for you guys soon, so you can actually listen to the frog chorus. Ooh, there's a nice one. I wonder if you'll actually... Well, I'll tell you what. I've got one for you. Let me just see... The one that we found the other day, or Mark found the other day, the mottled shovel-nosed frog. Let me see if I can actually pull that one up for you. So I'm pretty sure that is who we saw, with the pointed nose, the small front legs, the coloration. All of it fits to what we saw. So if I can get this one up for you. Here we go. I'm getting used to doing this now, so hopefully it's going to get quicker and quicker as we go. There we go. And then I'll play the call, because you might actually hear it again round by the dam. So here we go. This is the one that Mark found the other day. The mottled shovel-nosed frog. And this, hopefully, is going to be its call.
Frogs in groups 5 and 6. Mottled shovel-nosed frog, Hemisus marmoratus. Rattling frog, Simnodactylus
So quite an ear-piercing one, unfortunately. So I'm hoping I didn't burst your eardrums. But yes, mottled shovel-nosed frog. Okay, so the next one to share with you is another one of my favorites, and this is called a bubbling casina. Now, the reason why it's called a bubbling casina is the sound of its call. It actually, if you can imagine air bubbles floating up to the surface and popping on the surface of the water, it actually does sound like that. So I'm going to try and see if I can share that one with you. So I'll just pull up the picture. See if we've got the bubbling casina here. There we go. Quite a small little frog. So there you go, bubbling casina. And hopefully we'll get its call now. Again, quite a distinctive call.
Bubbling casina.
Oops, no, you started too soon. So here we go. Here's the call for the bubbling casina.
Bubbling casina, Casina senegalensis.
So there you go, bubbling casina. They can actually be quite full on and quite noisy. So I'm actually quite glad that I'm not too close to the water, so I can get some sleep. But yeah, beautiful little frog. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So there you go. That's the bubbling casina. Okay, what we need now. Ah, yes. We need one that I think we hear probably the most. So, see if I can actually find one that looks like what we would find here, because this one actually comes in many different colors, depending on where you're from. So I think I've got the right one from where we are from. I'm hoping. So let's just see if this works. Wonder if anybody's guessed it. Let's say the one that I think we actually heard quite a lot of last year, the start of the rainy stage this year, rainy season. And it's this little guy, very brightly coloured. And it is the painted reed frog. The painted reed frog. Let's say I'm just looking at the distribution. This should be the coloration that we find here, but you can get completely green, you can get red, you can get more black, you can get black and green. There is many varieties of this little painted reed frog. So I'm going to try and get the call for you. There we go. That was a good guess.
Reed frog.
So here we go. This is the painted reed frog. No, not that one.
Painted reed frog, Hyperoleus marmoratus.
Again, I'm hoping I didn't blast out your ears there. But there we go, painted reed frog. Hi, Gail. Hopefully you're this side with us. And Jeff, I think I missed you coming in there. Yeah, very pretty little frog. So this is the one with the very high-pitched call. May be confused with insects as well. Teen. Over the years, understand the grey tree frog is the foam nest frog. It's slightly different, actually. I'll see if I can actually find you a picture of the foam nest frog. It does look slightly different. I'll see if I can get a picture and put them up again. But they are slightly different. They are different genuses. They do have a slightly different call as well. It may go by the grey tree frog. Maybe that was its old name, because it is grey in colour. But the one before was the brown-backed tree frog. And I'm just having a look. It doesn't give any previous names. So yeah, as I say, I'm not entirely sure if it was known as the grey tree frog. It might well have been. Might well have been. But let me see if I can find a picture and play the call for you as well, because I'm actually forgetting how it calls it myself. So let's see. Who is it? Someone did say they actually did see the first nest as well. We'll have to have another look at that. Making the foam nest. Oh, brilliant. Got a nice picture for you. Could even be the foam nest frogs that we're finding behind the can of beans as well when they're sleeping, because they do go quite light in colour. But so do the brown-backed tree frogs as well. So here we go. Here's going to be the foam nest frog, and actually this picture shows them making the foam nest as well, which is really nice. I've seen it a couple of times now being here. And there we go. That's what I need. So here we go. Foam nest frog. And if I can get a nice close-up for you as well, and just show you the difference between the two, the brown-backed and the foam nest, possibly known as the grey. Okay. I'll have to put that one on hold for now. Well, the other picture anyway. Okay, so the foam nest frog should be towards the end of this track. Let's see how we go. There we go. So here we go. Foam nest frog, which is the two frogs you have on your screen. You can see the smaller male is actually on the back of the female. And when the female lays her eggs and he's mating with her, they actually start moving the legs around and building up this foam. And that foam will actually protect the tadpoles, and it'll protect them from the sun, so it'll keep them nice and moist. And as they grow, they'll start to wriggle about, and once it gets to the stage when they're large enough to avoid some predators in the water, they'll then drop into the water, which is usually below where they've made the nest. And one of the reasons why they actually have the nest out of the water is to stop any aquatic species from eating them. And again, that nest, the outside will harden, and it will also help to protect from any predators who are terrestrial as well. And they usually put them in places that are overhanging the water, so it's going to be quite difficult for the predators to get at them in the first place. So here we go. This is the foam nest frog call.
Foam nest frog, Chiromantis zerampelina.
Almost like the saying tic-tac-toe, tic-tac-toe. So there you go. That's the foam nest frog. Most of the time, males are much smaller than the females. Even with the rain frogs, the males will actually stick themselves, almost glue themselves to the females because they're just too small. They can't get the legs wrapped around the female's body, so they'd actually fall off if they didn't glue themselves to the female. So I'm going to give it another go, see if I can try and get a close-up picture of the frog for you. I think I've got it now. Okay. So here we go. Let's try this. Da, 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 da. Here we go. Looking like a nice one posing for the camera there. And the eye especially is quite distinct. You can see sort of almost it's a horizontal pupil. Whereas if I can show you, I'll show you the quite a small horizontal, and all the mottling on the body as well, very different to the brown-backed tree frog. So here's the brown-backed tree frog. And this one's got more of a round pupil. And actually the pupil is one of the ways you can actually distinguish between different frogs. So the size of the legs. Colour can help you, but it's more the patterns. There's distinctive ways to distinguish between the patterns. But certainly the eye will help to distinguish between the different types of frogs. So there you go. That's the brown-backed tree frog that has that distinctive call that you heard earlier. And this is the foam nest frog, which may have been called a grey tree frog, could possibly have been called that. And when they are sleeping, they do change colour. They do go a lighter colour, which is characteristic of the tree frogs. As I say, I don't know if they've been reclassified, but they are in a different genus now. So it could be that they have been reclassified. So there you go. That's the foam nest frog. Okay, I've just popped my head outside just to having a look at the weather. I know some of you are asking about whether there will be a drive, but it's still spitting. It's still, unfortunately, the weather is really working against us this afternoon. but yeah, as I say, I'll keep an eye on it. But it's not looking hopeful for a drive this afternoon. So sorry about that, Sandor. I think you were asking there. Rose, hi to Rose. Rose just coming in there. So, one of the other sounds that you might hear is the guttural toad. And this is quite... I actually imagine a pencil with a rubber. And I remember when we were kids at primary school, we used to bounce the pencil with the rubber off the table, and it kind of made the same sound. So it always reminds me of that. But see what you think. The guttural toad, see, this is the problem with the toads. They all look fairly similar. So the thing to look for on the guttural toad is there's a pair of patches, dark patches over the nostril, and... and two patches, brown patches behind the eye. And if you look carefully, it's not the best view, but if you do look carefully, you can see a pale cross between the eyes. There's that thick white bar or light bar, and then a line running from the snout all the way down the body. So that cross on the top of the head is distinctive. The dark patches over the nostrils and dark patches behind the eye. With the raucous toad, which it may be confused with, there's no patch behind the eye, and there's a single bar across the head, but that's quite a dark bar. So that's very distinctive for the raucous toad. So this one is the guttural, and this, according to the book, we're more likely to find in our area, but we may also see the raucous toad as well. But listen to it; it's quite an amazing sound coming from the raucous toad, the guttural toad. Sorry. So listen to this one. Oh no, wrong one. Hold on. I need track 8. That's why. I would have been completely on the wrong one. Oh, that's one I do need to play for you. There we go. Okay. Here we go. All right. So here is the guttural toad's call.
Guttural toad, Bufo gutturalis. Eastern olive.
Okay, so just seeing someone asking about the spelling for that one. I'm going to try and put it up onto... Sure. Nobody's been talking on the radio, and all of a sudden I'm hearing everybody chattering on the radio. There must be something going on. Okay, so if I can try and get this a little bit larger. Try that. Okay, there we go. So here's the guttural toad, and that's how you spell it. Guttural, the guttural toad. Ah, you have that one in your garden. Is this how you say it? Inque? No? Inca. I'll get there eventually. Hi, Joyce. So, Inca. And watch him wait. Yeah, it does sound a bit like a woodpecker. Okay, so I'm just checking. Thanks, RC. So, RC saying that foam nest frog has also been called African grey tree frog. Cool, thanks for that, RC. Lillian, how do they make the foam? It's basically when they thrashing their legs around and they just producing this this foam as they're thrashing the legs around, as the eggs and the sperm actually fuse together, and that's how they produce the foam. So I see if I can actually put that picture back up there. We have seen them build the nest before, so it's certainly something to keep a lookout for. But if you have a look, let's say it's the movement of the legs that helps to produce the foam. So there you go. Oh, no, that's not a guttural toad anymore. It's a foam nest frog. There we go. Okay, one that we have been hearing, and I think we've been hearing here, is this toad. Let me play the sound for you and see what you think. It's not this one.
Guttural toad.
I'm just trying to find the right one now. Nope. The one before that. That's the one I need. Yeah, that one. That one.
Toad. Buffer-Garmina. Eastern olive toad.
Stop! Okay, have a listen to this one. See if you've heard it around the dam, because I am convinced this is the one that we've got here. Calling, or it has been calling from the pool, and I'm pretty sure this is the most vocal one that we've got here. So take a listen.
Eastern olive toad. Buffer-Garmina. Tread.
See, I'm convinced that's the one that has been calling a lot. Hi, Montreal. Oh, Montreal's leaving. Bye, Montreal. Awesome. So that's it. So that is the eastern olive toad. It's that wah, 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 wah. Okay. See if I can get a picture for you. So the eastern olive toad is, I would say, probably the most vocal that we have, as I say. So here we go. See, the stream's caught up with me now. I was able to find the pictures and have them ready. I'm waiting for you. But you've caught me up. Where am I now? Cam, where are you? There you are. There we go. So this is the eastern olive toad. That's the one that you've just heard, and that's the one, as I say, that I think is very vocal around the dams, and I think they were probably one of the first to start calling this year. Okay, so apparently the most distinguishing thing about this toad, the patches on the back are not outlined in yellow. Well, that's very helpful. But yes, unfortunately, not really giving us too much to go on there. Oh, that's why I'm actually on the wrong one. Okay, let me just try. That was the eastern leopard toad I'm talking about. Try the eastern. Ah, there we go. Eastern olive toad. So no patches on the snout. Yeah, red colouring on the inner thighs. That's one of the ways you can tell the eastern olive toad. So not too much to go on, but certainly the patches on the nose, apparently. No patches on the snout. Well, that's according to the book, but according to this picture, it looks like he has got a bit of a patch on the snout. It also does look like the same one in the book. So here we go again. I'm going to play this little guy again for you. So the eastern olive toad, this is what it sounds like.
Eastern olive toad, Bufo garmani.
So there you go, that was the eastern olive toad. And I'm thinking the last one we need to have a look at is probably the bushveld rain frog. This one's quite a fun looking bushveld rain frog. Strange looking, fun looking individual. Not really like anything else that we've seen. I think Mark was actually lucky enough to see one of these on Drive the other night as well. Okay. So here we go. So check the small limbs and very large rounded body. Almost looks a bit like a pebble.
Rain frog, Reviceps and split.
And here's its call.
Frog, Breviceps adspersus. Bushveld rain frog, Breviceps adspersus.
So that was the bushveld rain frog. That's the little guy that's on the screen now. And this is the one where the male will actually stick himself to the female because the size difference is incredible. So hopefully I haven't given you too many there and got people confused. But quite interesting to see the differences with the frogs. And it's one of those that because you don't really see them that often and you don't really get to spend too much time with them, and they're only out for, you know, just a couple of months, it's very easy to forget what they sound like, maybe what they look like as well, and certainly as we're going into the frogging season, then it's quite nice just to recap them. Someone's saying it looks like Winston Churchill. Uh-huh. Hi, Mad, yes. Sorry, I've been playing frog calls all afternoon because I thought, since as we've been having rain and the rain's not going to go away, we might as well play with an animal that we're going to be seeing, well, hopefully going to be seeing on Drive. So actually, if I go through them on, for those of you who have missed them, so here we go again. Oops. Just to show you the pictures. So, the Platana African clawed frog coming up. Hi, Olmo. So that is the African clawed frog, the most aquatic of all the species. That was the very strange sound, because it actually uses cartilage to produce the sound rather than the vocal sac and the vocal cords. And the next one up is a highly toxic one. That's the banded rubber frog. So that's the banded rubber frog. The next one up is a brown-backed tree frog. Brown-backed tree frog. There he is, very cute little guy. And the next one up is a mottled, shovel-nosed frog. Yeah, just making sure I'm getting the right name there. Mottled shovel-nosed frog. Mottled shovel-nosed frog. The next one up that sounds like bubbles popping on the surface of the water. That whoop, 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 whoop. That's the bubbling casina. Hi, Gillian. Just saw you there as well. And the painted reed frog. So that's the bubbling casina. This is the painted reed frog. The foam nest frog is the next one coming. Am I going to do an exam about this? Maybe, hey? As I say, it's one that it's not one of my big areas, so it's actually helping me to identify the main ones as well. So this is also the foam nest frog, otherwise known as the African grey tree frog. next one up is the guttural toad. The guttural toad. And one of the differences between the toads and the frogs is the glandular skin of the toads. You see that the toad is often known as being quite warty, whereas the frogs are quite smooth, and that's one of the big differences between frogs and toads. And the next one up is the very, very loud and very chatty eastern olive toad. Eastern olive toad. Oh, sorry, the one that I've got there is there was actually two guttural toads. This one is the guttural toad. This one's slightly darker, and this one also guttural toad. I actually picked up two, but actually, I'm going to confuse you now. Look at this. Remember, I was talking about the white cross on the head between the eyes. There you go. You can see that white cross really nicely now, the light cross on the guttural toad. So that's how you tell the difference between that and the raucous toad, apparently. So that's a guttural toad. This is also a guttural toad. And this is the eastern olive toad. The eastern olive toad. And then finally, the bushveld, V-E-L-D, bushveld rain frog. Bushveld rain frog. And Susan, how many different types of frog do we have? Do you know what? I'm actually not sure how many we have in the area. I shall have to have a look at the checklist. I think it was something like 10. There we go. She says. And she finds one. So let's see what's on the checklist. Amphibians. Wow, we've actually got quite a lot. Which is actually a lot more than I thought we would have. 30 in this area. And what's quite interesting is the olive toad. It has not been confirmed, and yet I am sure that is the one that's been calling at the dams and the pans and from the pond. So I need to let the guys know that it is confirmed. So if you want, I can see if I can try and play the sounds again. Let me see. So let me just see if I can go through the sounds. For those of you who may have just come in, see if we can give it a go.
Frogs in group 9.
9? No. I don't. There we go.
Frogs in groups 1, 2.
So the platana.
Common platana, Xenopus levis.
Okay, so the platana. The next one is... Oh, I've lost myself now. Where are you? Oh, the next one is banded rubber frog. Oh. Oh, that one was the platana anyway. Banded rubber frog, that's the next one.
Banded rubber frog, Phrynomantis bifasciatus.
Okay, and then this little guy, the brown-backed tree frog.
Tree frog, Leptopilus mozambican. Brown-backed.
So here we go, brown-backed tree frog.
Brown-backed tree frog, Leptopilus mozambicus.
So the brown-backed tree frog. The shovel-nosed frog, mottled shovel-nosed frog, is the next one up.
Frogs in groups 5 and 6. Mottled shovel-nosed frog, Hemesis marmoratus. Rattling.
So the mottled shovel-nosed frog. Who else do I need now? The bubbling castina, one of my favourites. Bubbling castina is next. Oops. Okay, and then we move on to the painted reed frog, the one that probably we hear, I would say most of the time. Let's see where you are. There we go. So here we go.
Painted reed frog, Hyperoleus marmoratus.
So that was the painted reed frog. And the foam nest frog is coming up.
Foam nest frog, Chiromantis xerampelina.
And then we have the guttural toad. Let's say, sounding like somebody playing with a pencil with a rubber on the end and bouncing it off the table. I think so, anyway.
Guttural toad, Bufo gutturalis.
And the eastern olive toad.
Tredu mountain toad.
Oh, be quiet. We don't want the Tredu mountain toad. Don't think we even get that one here. I'll have to check. And then the last one, by no means least, the Bushveld rain frog. So the Bushveld rain frog. See if we can get that one up.
Rain frog, Breviceps aspersus.
So there you go. That was a roundup of the frogs from this afternoon. I hope you've enjoyed it. Anyway, it's been quite interesting finding the pictures and showing animals that we don't often get a chance to see, which was actually what, who was it? Somebody was asking earlier. I think it was Dean. Ah. Hi, Jane. Was it Janie? Just wanting to know if we get a frog like the picture that you're sending. Suction cups on the feet, crawls up windows, and changes colours. Yeah, I think that's actually describing the tree toads or tree frogs that we have here. If I can actually see what, because that's, again, the suction pads is another way to identify. The ghost frogs also have the suction pads. The cassinas, the tree frogs especially, have the adhesive pads. And I actually remember watching, I forget which species it was. It could have been the foam nest frog or the brown-backed tree frog. And we were all watching a movie up at Inga's house, and we had the big glass doors. And all of a sudden we just hear this splat. We all look around it, because it actually made us all jump. And we all look around and we just see this frog that splattered against the glass. And what had happened was it was actually after an insect, and it jumped onto the glass to actually catch it. And it caught it, and it started sliding down the window with this huge insect in its mouth. It was classic. But yeah, it was one of those moments that, you know, it was just made everybody jump, and it was that nervous giggle, and then we all realised what had happened, and we just burst out laughing. And this frog is, as I say, sort of stuck to the window. Very funny. Ed, unfortunately, sad news. The 2 bush babies from Voyatella Lodge didn't make it. The guys did extremely well. But yeah, unfortunately, they didn't survive. There was 2 little bush babies that were found by some people from one of the neighbouring properties, and they picked them up. Instead of actually, they should have really have left them, because I think the mother probably would have come to fetch them. But they picked them up and they brought them to the lodge, and some of the lodge staff actually tried to hand rear them. And they got them as far as 2 or 3 weeks, which is actually very good. They were very small, very young. And, you know, they did extremely well with them. But Sassy is just like Teddy. She's looking for trouble all the time. But certainly a good one. RC, I'll see if I can find a picture for you. Let me see if I can find a picture of a raucous toad. Actually, let me see if I can... can't spell now. I'll see if I can play the raucous toad as well for you. I actually thought about that when I was putting it up and I forgot. So here we go. Looking for a nice... It's quite difficult to tell the difference between the raucous toad and the guttural toad. So I believe. But certainly that cross on the head of the guttural toad, that white cross or the light cross, The raucous toad apparently doesn't have that. Oh, what you doing? Come here. Okay, so this is the best one I can find. So here you go. This is a raucous toad. Actually, this one could be better. Let me show you this one instead, because I think this one is actually better. Because I think it shows the lack of the light bar across the head. There we go. So that's actually quite nice. So if I can show you the guttural toad. So this is the raucous toad. Have a look. There's that dark bar between the eyes, and have a look at the guttural toad. So you can see the light bar between the eyes and that light marking from the nose down to the rump. So that, I think, is probably the best way to distinguish the raucous from the guttural. And then throw the eastern olive toad in the mix. But I suppose it does look quite different. But again, it doesn't have that. I think the patches also on the two toads show a difference between the raucous and the guttural to the eastern olive, which is on the screen now. I've lost my page for toads. Come on, where are you? Looking for the toads. The toads need to come out now. There we go. And you need to have a look on the inside of the legs of that toad for the redness. I forgot about that. So let me see if I can actually get the raucous toad call for you. So here we go. Let me put the raucous toad. No. Quiet. There we go. So raucous toad, here we go.
Raucous toad, Bufo rangeri.
So there you go. That is the raucous toad. And Jen and Mike over in Ustream. Good afternoon to you. Thanks, JB. Good to hear you've been dropping in and out of the drive this afternoon. Great to hear you guys are enjoying the frogs and the toads. I'll have to see if we can do a bit of a frogging drive at some stage. Oh, shame. That's brilliant. Thanks, Deborah. Deborah's just saying about me finding a frog behind the can of beans. I've done it a couple of times, actually. She says, imagine this, 6 a.m., half awake, step in the shower and start the water. All of a sudden, I'm feeling something jump on my foot. A green tree frog. Doing the frog on my foot dance. Yeah, it's amazing where these frogs get to, hey? And hi, Tom in Alabama. Just wanting to know a little bit about our past. Yeah, each time we do have rain, it just depends. I just saw today it was raining. I thought, oh, it'd be nice to do the frogs, and because I actually was playing around with the sounds of the calls of the frogs, I was actually trying to learn a few again because it's been so long since I've heard them. They're on the tip of my tongue. So I thought, oh, it'd be nice to share the sounds of the frogs with you guys, especially with the waterhole starting to really come into chorus. I thought, we'll do a bit of the frogs and hopefully head out on drive, which obviously didn't happen. But yeah, sometimes we just chat. Sometimes we get a lot of questions and just filling people in on stories and things like that, just whatever comes to mind. So yeah, sometimes we have something that we can share with you. Sometimes we just chat. Sometimes I'll watch the waterhole camera and just see what's going on and talk about that as well. But for myself, I came from the UK. I've always had a love for animals. I've really enjoyed wildlife. As far back as I can remember, I was watching the wildlife documentaries. And something's always driven me to come and be out in the wild, to actually see the animals in the wild. I became a volunteer at the local wildlife park, where I was working with things like lemurs and small cats from around the world. And then after my zoology degree, I actually went back to work with some of the larger animals like the rhinos and the tigers and the lions and bears and things like that. Oh my. So yeah, that really cemented for me that I was just really interested in the animal behavior, and that was because of doing work experience there and volunteering there. I went on to do zoology and thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's really nice that I'm actually using my zoology degree in my current job. It's so many people go through university not really knowing what they want to do or sort of being mindset on something they want to do, and then after the degree they sort of get turned off it. But I thoroughly enjoyed zoology and thoroughly enjoyed learning about the animal behavior. But the drive was still to come out to South Africa, or not South Africa, to the wild. I went to Sumatra during my degree to go and see the tiger project that was supported by the wildlife park. We actually raised £350,000 over 2 or 3 years, which really helped to knock poaching on the head. It was quite incredible, and they're still doing a lot of good today, which is awesome news. So I went to see what the project was doing and how they were doing it, and that really was something else for me. I mean, I was 20, and it was the first time I really travelled abroad on my own, and we were walking through the Sumatran jungle, and just seeing where the animals were living and seeing signs and the tracks and the dung, and it really ignited something in me. And I actually slept out in the jungle that night, and I probably slept most of the night, but there was a couple of times I did wake up, and you did have this thought. And I actually asked one of the guys, well, what happens if a tiger comes along? And I was sleeping on the edge as well. There was about 5 guys and me, so I was sleeping on the edge. Obviously they were being polite, but I felt a bit exposed. So I said to the guide, well, what happens if a tiger comes along? And he actually said to me, the tiger has enough food out there. He knows he can go and find food there. He doesn't need to eat us. And it is very, very true. The same thing. I tell the guests the same thing here. There's no reason for the lions or the leopards to eat us, because there's enough food out there for them. So yeah, as I say, it was that was really where I really felt at home, was out in the wild. And as I say, I'll never forget that night. We camped out. It was pouring down with rain, and all we had was a sheet of plastic over the top, sort of like a tent, but the sides were open, and we were just sleeping on the ground sheet. And I just loved it. I just thought it was the best thing. So I was there for a couple of days in the jungle, and I went to Singapore and did a few tourist things there, and it really opened my eyes. I really enjoyed it. And then from there, I actually came out to be a guide to I'd actually seen somebody, or I'd spoken to somebody that did one of the courses for a month, and I thought, well, I want to go out for longer than that, so that's why I ended up doing the year course. And when I came out here, I just loved it, and you know, I was actually doing what the guys were doing in Sumatra. You know, I could actually look at a tree and go, right, well, I know this is this type of tree, and I know it can be used for this, and you know, sort of seeing signs where animals had been and knowing what animal had been there, you know, was really quite a thrill, and it still is, you know, and to actually see the animals in the natural environment, that was the biggest thing for me, and that was the biggest reason for coming out. I'll joke often about the weather, and you know, I'm certainly a sun child. I love seeing the sun, but certainly seeing the animals in the wild was the biggest push for me. But yeah, as I say, Tom, I try and put everything out there for those people who aren't on Facebook as well, because obviously we are quite aware that there's a number of people, including my mum, who's not on Facebook, for a number of reasons. So that's why I do try and put the blogs out there. We usually talk about our past experiences on chats like this or on Drive. So feel free to ask us about our past or stories, because it's funny, when you're driving along, you kind of do get into that frame of mind that sometimes, you know, you do forget that you may have new people that haven't heard those stories, or maybe people have forgotten those stories or whatever. So definitely let us know if you would like us to tell you any stories and things like that. And I'm thinking that my chat hasn't moved for a little while, so I'm hoping you are still with me. There's me rabbiting on as usual. And meanwhile, nobody's heard anything that I've said. That's the story of my life. I enjoy talking. My mum always said I could talk the hind legs off a donkey. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Teen, if you are still with me. I just hope everybody is. I can see I've not got anything up on this side. I'm just about to enter chat. Oh, there we go. So I'm hoping you have been with me for all of that. Oh, you are here. Awesome. Yay. Hi, Grandma23. Good to see you there as well. Oh, I've been booted out of Ustream chat. Why does that not surprise me? Yes. I must admit, before I got this job, I really wasn't technical, and I'm probably still not that technical, but I'm more technical than what I was, if that makes any sense. Oh well. Actually, here's one for you. I don't know if I've shown you this one yet. The monitor lizard with the algae on his head. Oh, that reminds me, I need to put the chameleon up there as well. Hi, Cynthia. Didn't see you. How's Sapiwe? Oh, I did actually see Sapiwe just on my way back from leave. She's very well. She's where is she? She's still looking for a job, but I think she's still doing, you know, she was doing her management studies or business studies, sorry. So I think she's still doing that at the moment. I saw little Ariel. She was she was very cheeky. But beautiful little girl, though. Have I heard from the guys yet? No, I actually haven't. The guys have gone, eh? Oh, well. But no, it's been a great chatting to you this afternoon. As I say, I can't believe that the time has flown already. But as I say, thank you very much for staying with me and enjoying the frogs and something a little bit different. Yeah, as I say, I might do tracking next time. I might just show you the pictures of the tracks again. I have those still saved on my computer somewhere. And yeah, as I say, I think Dean, hopefully if you're still with us, you enjoyed the frogs, and I suppose that was kind of what you were talking about earlier. I kind of didn't realise that I could throw something to get together so quickly like that. But yeah, as I say, each chat goes differently. Sometimes we'll have a spark of inspiration, and sometimes we'll just enjoy chatting to you. You know, sort of answering the questions and having the banter on the chat. So yeah, as I say, maybe we'll do snakes next time. That could be a good one. Although snakes don't make sounds. See, I quite like having the sounds, because I was actually thinking of doing the birds, and my original thought was to do a few of the birds, but as I say, I was playing with the frogs, and I thought, ooh, we don't always do the IDing of the frogs, so. Oh, yes, we do have a couple more questions. So, Grandma23. Watching a program last night and talking about warthogs. Something never heard about them is where they get the name from, which is the so-called warts they have, which is said they use for protection, that they use if they get charged or fight with others. Yeah, I've mentioned it on Drive a couple of times. I think what we usually do, I mean, I rotate my stories, because obviously we know that we do have the people who usually join us for as many drives as possible, and then we have people that drop in and drop out, and maybe we have new viewers. So to try and keep it as lively as possible, and to try not repeat ourselves too much too often, we'll often talk about different things, and especially if the animal's doing something differently, we'll talk about that one day and maybe something different. So it could just be that you've just missed it on drives when we have discussed it. But definitely the warthog, some people actually call it the water hog, which is not right. It's warthog, W-A-R-T, warthog, because of the warts on the face. Males have 4, 2 by the eyes and 2 by the mouth, and females only have 2. And they will be used for protection. They just in those soft, or close to those soft areas, that when they do fight, the teeth could catch. So obviously the 2 by the eyes will actually help to avoid blows towards the eyes, and the 2 by the mouths as well, especially for the males. But they will use their tushes when they are fighting the teeth, and it's actually those teeth that are incredibly sharp, and it's the teeth that curl round. They're going to do damage, but it's the bottom teeth that rub against the top teeth that act like small daggers, and they're the ones you got to watch out for. Thanks, Becky, and glad to hear you enjoyed the frogs as well. Tom in Scotland, wanting to know, can you do FAGASA exams online? At this stage, I don't think so. I think you have to come to South Africa to do them, as far as I understand. And how would I recommend approaching lodges to become a field guide? If you're looking to do a gap year, what I recommend is doing what I did. You do 6 months training, and then you do 6 months placement. Botswana is going to be very difficult to get into. Kruger also, It depends on if you go through, I think Bushwise are close to Kruger. They may have connections to get into Kruger. I think there's eco training, which is also in Kruger. So if you want to get into Kruger, rather look for a training facility actually in Kruger. When I first started, when I wanted to train to be a guide, I only had one option. Every time I kept putting training to be a field guide into the search engine, all that came up was the Bush Academy. That was it. And when I came out here, I think there was a few more starting up. And certainly now, if you put into the search engine, then I think you get quite a few up. I think eco training is one of the big ones now. Bush Academy closed down a few years ago. But certainly that's the way I'd recommend, because if you're looking to do a gap year, it's the easiest way in. You also get a feel for it, because actually field guiding, a lot of people think it's quite glamorous, but it's very hard work, very long hours. You're with the guests almost 24/7, and some people sort of get quite a big shock when they do go into the lodge industry, and they sort of don't think it is the way it is. So certainly doing the training for 6 months, you're out in the bush, you get that exposure to the bush, you're with people who have had a lot of experience, you can gain a lot of knowledge from them. The 6 months also, if you do a 6-month course, they tend to train you to an intermediate level. They tend to include the exams at the end of that session, and they usually that'll include, because you do 2 parts, you do a written exam and you get examined actually on your drive. So most of those training facilities will have an examiner come in, assessor, there we go, an assessor coming in and joining you for your game drive to be assessed, and he'll usually do 20 or 30 of you, how many ever are on your course. And then if you're on that year course, generally they will help to place you at a lodge. Generally they'll have ties with certain lodges who will have guides that are sent there every 6 months or whatever, and that's the best way of getting in. Approaching a lodge to ask to become a guide. If you don't have any of the Fagato qualifications or any experience, they'll turn you away immediately. They'll laugh at you. So if you don't have any experience, we're not going to take you. So certainly the 6 months. I think there's actually a rule now that they've stopped the month courses because you're not learning enough there. So I think the smallest or the shortest amount is the 2 months. But if you've got a year, I'd recommend doing the 6 months and then the 6 months work placement. That would definitely be my recommendation, especially if you've got the time, definitely. Oh, sure. Well, that's not too bad, hey, Donna. Preschool class of 10, 3 said the African animal toys lived in the zoo. 1 said the savannah, the rest said Africa. That's actually pretty good going. I am impressed, Donna. I am impressed. I wanted to put the chameleon up, didn't I? Yes. Let me see if I can put the chameleon up. So I found my chameleon the other day. I don't know if I've got it on my hard drive. Let me just find out. Let me see. Where would I find it? Please open, thank you. Thanks for reminding me there. Not where I thought it would be. You just hate it when that happens. No! Okay, that's just rude. Apparently I haven't put it onto my hard drive. I think I'm going to have to try and load it later. Yep. I did put the chameleon on Facebook, but I was hoping to put it on here. So yeah, unfortunately that one is going to have to be... I'm going to have to wait for that one. Sorry to say. I do apologise. Ooh, but we'll have that one. That's a good one to have. Hopefully this brings back memories to everybody. There we go. Da, 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 da. Do you remember this one? Oh, great. Thanks, Gail. Glad to hear you got the checklist. Oh, that's not good. Thanks, Bonnie. I'll let the guys at Juma know that they've only given us an hour game drive on their webpage. That's not good. Sorry, I was getting you all geared up for a chameleon picture, but hopefully you'll enjoy the wild dog picture there. What else have we got? Brenda, do I get to drive tomorrow since I had no drive today? Probably not. It'll probably be one of the guys, because I actually quite enjoy the camera as well, so I'm not too bothered. And as I say, I've quite enjoyed doing the chat today. It's actually quite nice to do something a little bit different on occasion. And I'll be even more geared up for going out in a couple of days' time. So I'm just adding another picture here of a little girl. Hopefully you'll enjoy this one as well. The wild dogs, when was that? That was last year. And that's part of the calendar. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked again. That was part of the calendar. Hi, Oriel. Actually, so last year there was the school classes that came in to chat with a teacher. It's brilliant to have the kids on board as well. It's always great to have the kids on board. Okay, what else have we got here? Alright. Thanks for joining us, Ed. Apparently Ed's off for real now. And of course, the lady herself from the other day. Here you go. This was when Patrick found them, and they stayed around for 3 days. That was incredible. I'm still on the wild dog. You guys are on the wild dog, and I've just put Karula up. That's how far you are behind us, behind me now. Now, I'll definitely get the Chameleon Roy. I'll definitely get that one for you. But I'm not sure why I don't have it. Any pictures of Karula's cubs when they were smaller? Let me have a look, actually. I think I might have. Let's see what we've got. Let me see. Cubs when they were small. I don't really have a great one of them, unfortunately. But this was when they were very, very, very small. This was actually our first sighting of them, I think. Oh, I'm still struggling to get into Ustream. But I hope you guys are all good that side if you are still with us. But I am going to be signing off very shortly. Some people are saying they've got to sort dinner out, and that's just making me also decide that I'm hungry as well. But I think the picture with Karula, drive delayed due to rain, and that face, that expression just totally. So if there's any more last requests before I do say goodbye. Ah! Thanks, RC. RC's managed to get my chameleon picture, so let me see if I can get the chameleon up just before I do say goodbye. Here we go. Fantastic. Where did I put that now? Okay, I'll try again. Hold on. Here we go. Try again. Doesn't like if you don't do it right, it doesn't like it. There we go. Wonderful. So here is my chameleon picture for you. Those of you who are hoping to see the chameleon. Oh, 2 last emails that came in. Becky I've been trying to get into Sportsman's Paradise online. I'll see if I can actually get in there. I'll have to work out how to do that. But yes, you heard right. I did try and contact Ellen. Have I tried to contact Jack Hanna? No, I haven't. I haven't tried him. Last one from Tom. Where's the nearest wild dog den? I think the pups have grown up. We think they weren't too far away. I think they were on Elephant Plains, which is to the west. It was either Elephant Plains or there was rumours it was on Buffalo's Hook. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly where. But unfortunately, I think both packs have had their pups, so they won't be denning until next year again now, or at least when those pups are over a year old. So yeah, unfortunately, but hopefully they've been around for the last month or so. They've been sort of fairly close to the area, so I'm hoping that we're going to get a chance to see them. But they only den when the pups are very small, and then the pack starts to move, and they just cover a vast amount of area. I mean, it's crazy how far they go. Ah, hi Ruth, missed you there, and Mrs. B. Good to see you. I hope Mr. B's well. So, I am going to be saying goodbye properly this time. But thank you once again to everybody who's joined me this afternoon, and I'm hoping that the rain has finished what it was bringing for the day. We do need the rain, but yeah, it'd be nice to have the rain outside the game drive times. But hey, tomorrow is another day, and hopefully we'll have a wonderful drive tomorrow with Sebastian. I'm going to be on camera, and Mark's going to be in final control. So I am just going to change this around slightly so that we have the right people in the right places. There we go. 5:30 Central Africa time is when the drive will start. And I'll leave you with our beautiful lady. But take care. It's been wonderful chatting with you, and I'll see you again very soon. And we'll definitely have to check off a few more creatures on the checklist. And we'll have to keep an eye out for those frogs now and the toads. And I'll have my frogging book with me, so hopefully we can get a positive ID. Still working on the lizard. I've yet to actually have a look at Jones's girdled lizard. Could well be that one. But just seeing some information or a question from Kathy. Is there a lag, or am I going over time? Bit of both. I am actually... Oh, sure. I didn't realise I was that far over time. It's about 7:30 now. But yes, there has been a little bit of a lag. I've been trying to play catch up as much as possible, especially when I was putting the pictures up of the frogs. That was helping out a little bit. But as I say, unfortunately, it looks like we have been having a little bit of a lag. But take care, everybody. It's been great chatting, and I'm going to go and find some dinner now, and I shall see you again tomorrow morning. But bye for now.